I see things about P4, NetMiko, Nornir, etc., all of which are different. We have the presentation on P4 today. Are we going to see a consolidation of automation frameworks or languages? I'll just extend it tools. There's so many different things that fall into this category. And it's a gold rush right now because we got the open source community creating all kinds of tools, and we've got vendors creating all sorts of automation tools and or leveraging open source or writing libraries and so on. And it does, this kind of relates to yet another question that popped up. Ansible or Salt Stack, came up as a question here. So it's all related. Do we have a rally point in the network automation space, the kind of the standard tools people are using as they're growing their own automation solution or augmenting whatever automation tooling they have?
Well, we've been doing actually a challenge within NetCraftsman. So we're running a contest. It runs monthly, and we'll put together a particular task, and a bunch of us are going and building some stuff. So it's kind of an interesting way to approach how do we get our staff smart about using some of these things. So one of the recent things came up was which language. There's a bunch of negative press about Python. Why do you not like Python? Well, it turns out that, in my view, Python is the language for network automation. Just so many tools are built around it.
Yep.
In terms of the other stuff, you mentioned Ansible versus SaltStack. It might shake out, but we have Juniper, we have Cisco, we have whatever. It's good to have options.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna simplify anymore. If you look at other markets, especially like if I've been in the dev space for a little bit now, and there's a million different ways to do one thing. We're used to in the networking world where there's 2 or 3 options: BGP, OSPF, EIGRP, whatever, or LLDP versus CDP, things like that. You only have a handful of options, and there's a number of ways to do it. In the dev world, there's a million different ways to do one thing. And so it's up to you to navigate what's the smartest way to do this for your specific situation. And that goes even further. So if you look at like web frameworks, you got web frameworks out there like Django, you got Flask, and those are the top most popular ones. But there are others out there. There's also, you can go out there and build your own, or you could just straight up build on top of other things. There's a number of ways to go about this, but there are popular ways. I think that's kind of how things are going to shake out with a lot of this.
That was sort of depressing, Ryan, in a way. You said there's a million different ways. I don't think it's going to get any better.
And like I mentioned, there are the popular ones, and the same thing like data structures. If you're looking at JSON versus YAML versus XML, you got all of the different ones. People seem to standardize usually on the same one. Most people are landing on JSON right now. And I think that's kind of how things will move forward.
Agreed.
Yeah, Terry, I liked your comment about Python just because it's there is so much support and so many tools that are related to Python, built around Python, libraries that vendors have supplied for Python and so on. And I'm not sure what all the knocks might be. I mean, it is an interpreted language. It's not the most efficient under the hood. I know that. And people that care about those things seem to have been going lately to Go, if not C or Java, but Golang seems to be where they go if they've got to make something super efficient and so on. But for people like us who just want to get in and do something quickly, I mean, Python's ubiquitous and all over the place in the network automation space. So if you're looking, you're in the audience and you're looking at the slide, well, we just did the presentation on P4, so hopefully that's somewhat familiar to you. NetMiko, there is a podcast in the library, at least one that I believe we did with Kirk Byers back in the day that introduces that topic. Nornir is actually a podcast we're in planning. That's sort of different. It's not a language, it's a framework for Python to deal with network automation. I haven't worked with it all yet, but we're getting some of the folks keenly involved in the developing of Nornir to come on and chat about that and what it's for if you're unfamiliar. Right.
And Ethan, just one more, a little shout out to NRE Labs, which is a new project from Juniper. It's not necessarily tied to Juniper. It's essentially free. You don't even have to register. It's courses to teach you the basics of automation with a strong network bent. So if you're curious, check out NRE Labs.
Yep. Yeah. Juniper's hosting it, but right, it's not like, and there's some Juniper stuff in there, but it's not all about Juniper. It's really a platform to try to get you oriented around automation, and free. You don't even have to log in. Last I checked.
It's great. It's very easy to dive into.